What? He just
So
did.
he said, "Wait, I gotta go take a shit," and then he just left.
Yes.
What is good, y'all? This is not EG this time. Apollo is finally back. I heard you guys had kind of a roller coaster of an episode last time. Don't know exactly what happened. I got to go back and rewatch it, but apparently somebody took a shit mid podcast.
Damn.
I got to go back and watch it, but that's just what I was informed. But yeah, EG, he might come on here a few episodes. You just got to kind of get used to the whole podcasting thing. You can't get up and go to the bathroom when somebody's talking. But yeah, this is the Further Beyond podcast. We come on here and talk about conspiracies every single episode. Sometimes it's true crime. Sometimes it'll be conspiracies that are a little bit scary and dark. Mine is for sure going to be dark, so a little warning before we get to mine. Pans, I really don't know much about his. He told me the name before we started, and that's about all I know. So if his is dark, then just a little pre-warning. If it's not, then hope you guys enjoyed the episode. What's good, Pan? How have you been, bro? How were you last week?
Hi. Yeah, I'm chilling right now. Like doing some college stuff, more or less trying to find a topic for my bachelor thesis. Yes. Um, yeah, I just wrote a couple emails. Still no response. I'm just waiting.
A bachelor thesis. What is that?
Like it's you take courses for a few years, and then there's this level you reach called bachelor. You write like a paper, I think around 30 pages,
Jesus.
and yeah, it's I'm scared.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, 30 pages. You hopefully pass, and then you start with new courses until you reach the master level, and to like finish this master level at the end. And for me, like I'm studying to become a teacher. If you want to be a teacher, you need to reach master level. The paper for that level is like 60 pages, I think.
Oh my god. That shit sounds complicated. Nonetheless, much appreciation for Pan for being here, because he is obviously going through it right now. That shit sounds crazy. And the fact that he can do all that and still come on here and record a podcast, that's mad props. Honestly, mad props. I appreciate that. But Pan
No problem.
will be going first this time. He'll go ahead and tell you the theory name. Let's go ahead and get this started. What you got, Pan?
Yeah, my theory, or it's not really a theory, it's something that happened like 50 years ago, 40 years ago, something around that time, called the Elan School. I don't know how many of you heard about this. Apparently, it was big many years ago, like from 2000 to 2010, when the internet got bigger and bigger. In the US at least, not here in Europe. But yeah, before I actually start, big warning, it's I don't know what Apollo is going to talk about. Like he said, warning before starting, so I guess his might be more extreme, but mine also has like certain elements that I won't be able to directly mention here. So
Damn.
there will be like I'm just warning y'all that this might not be all too easy for everyone.
So like an all-around dark episode. All right.
Yeah.
Well, y'all got y'all's
But
warning.
yeah.
Let's jump into it.
So we start in 1970. This is where when this so-called Elan School, this whole project started. The director is called Joseph Ritchie, but honestly, the name isn't all that important right now. It's just what this school is and everything around it. So at that time, this is like, I think in the US around that time, there was this whole hippie culture, I think. So a lot of teens were like called troubled or problem children, problem teen. The parents often didn't know what to do. According to people just talking online. And this school was created specifically to work with these children, these problem children, from grade 8 to grade 12. And they had a supposed 90% success rate. and it was described as
Jesus.
a fun outdoor camp. You sent your children there for I think $50,000 as a fee to get your children there, and they like work with them, make it all better, and when the children return, as I said, 90% success rate, they're all like happy and so on and so on. They will start listening to you, become obedient. Everything the parents at that time probably wanted, all this, like this is like the number one thing they wanted if they had like these problem children.
It sounds worth it. I mean, 50,000 for 4 years. I'm pretty sure, or 50,000 a year.
I saw a video of the director, or the one doing all the advertisement on TV, saying something about $17,000 per year. So I think you pay $50K at the start, and then yearly you pay $17,000.
Well, if the
Should
success
be
rate's
something.
90%, then that mean it sounds worth it at the end of the day. That's like
Yeah,
how much a private school costs. So
Yeah, but I mean, it was supposedly 90%. There was no actual evidence of this being the case.
They were just saying it was 90%. What
Yes.
the fuck?
Because the things that happened there, I don't know if you could even say they had a 10% success rate.
What?
But let's just get there.
Alright.
You, as a parent, go to this, like, I don't know if this was a website back in the day. I think it was, because the internet was a thing back then, only just not all too big. So you had these couple websites, or mostly flyers or advertisement on TV. All the advertisement was directed towards the parents. These parents were troubled, having trouble with their kids, and the people at Elan School doing the advertisement really paint the parents as the victims in the situation. They are suffering because of their children, so they get this awesome chance to send their kids to this school to better them, and they come back like completely new people. So they say, yeah, you pay the fee, and we like fly these kids to this place. Like they said, they bring in a private plane or something. Called it Teen Escort Service. Yeah, whatever that means.
Teen escorts. Wait, well, escorts
So-
here is kind of like prostitution, so.
Yeah, but it was like it's just a very abstract term, right? You hear Teen Escort Service. What even is that? But yeah, they said they get there, take the children with them, and then fly via plane. But as all things that sound so weird, this is not actually what happened, because they don't tell you when they will arrive, and when they do,
What?
they do it at night. They get into the house. I don't know if the parents allow them in or not, but the children, the teenagers, do not know about this. So at night, they get into your room, like usually two men, and kidnap you. Like you are asleep, two men
What the
suddenly
hell?
break in. They handcuff you, physically subdue you, and put you in a van and just start driving away. Like, what the fuck even is that? Like, I'm saying this right now, and I'm getting like creeped out because
Parents would pay for this?
yes, but of course the parents they were not told that this was to happen this way. So I don't know.
Crazy.
So I don't know. Even though, like, did the parents let them into the house, or did they just break in? Who knows? I assume the parents let them in because breaking in would be a crime. And so, apparently, nothing that they ever did was against the law at that time. Apparently, there were no laws against all the things they did, so it was all legal. Just the parents allowed them to take the children. The children had no say in it. They just break in. Whoops. A lot of girls also said that they at that time thought they were about to, you know what? And
Yeah.
because two men just break in. Like, this is giving you straight up PTSD for life.
Fuck.
But yeah, they just arrive, take you, of course, with a van. Off you go. and they drop you off at the school. The school itself, this campus, is very secluded from everything else, like from society. It's close to the woods, nothing else close by, and almost no way really to escape, because like it's almost like it also almost feels like these German concentration camps back in World War II. You really had no way to escape because people were watching you wherever you went. But new children that like came in there were instantly, or like after a day or two, put into one of two groups, and this is like I think important to know. The first group being called strengths. These are the children that are obedient and compliant. They listen to you. They are not doing anything that annoys the staff, and yeah, they get into the strength group. And the people that resist the treatment are called non-strengths. It's important to know that strengths have certain perks. Not like they are allowed to talk to anyone whenever they want, or mostly whenever they want. And non-strengths, they are not allowed to talk to other non-strengths. And if they do, there's harsh punishment. So instantly you have these kids that don't know each other put into two separate groups, one being better than the other. There's instantly like a conflict going on between people you don't even know, because why are they allowed to do things I'm not allowed to?
Yeah, like immediately put in like some sort of like caste system or something like that.
Exactly. And what this harsh punishment is, I'm getting there later, because the whole punishment thing in this school is also very complex. But yeah, contact to the outside world is very limited. If you want to do a call, and not everyone is allowed to, obviously, only those who are doing well for a long time, like they are considered worthy of being able to like call their parents or write a letter. But everything you write, everything you want to send out, or if you want to call anyone, is being monitored. Like it all goes to one place. They hear everything you say, and you are only allowed to say good things if you do so. They also force you sometimes, or forced you, past tense, to write these guilt letters. These letters containing like you just telling your parents that yeah, everything is great, like I'm learning so much stuff. So the parents don't get worried or start asking questions.
What?
So this is all just controlling them. You are not able to do anything to get to the outside world. I mean, the internet wasn't big at that time, so no chance. And now the rule book. It was called Guild. And this rule book is, I mean, very detailed. Let's say it like this. I have this screenshot in front of me. It's not like the whole book. It's only like 30 rules or 20 rules, I think. Let me just read you a couple of them.
All right.
These actions are forbidden. Having an image, that means having a personality, more or less.
What? That's the first rule?
Yes. reading as a non-strength, not completing learning experiences, writing without permission, being quote-unquote sideways, whatever that means.
What the fuck?
Looking at security zones, non-strength interacting, talking too loudly, talking too softly, looking at the opposite gender, being attracted to someone, any physical contact, looking out the windows, unauthorized drawing, not listening to higher-ups, pretending to sleep at night. This list goes on, like oversleeping, undersleeping, fucking smiling is not allowed.
You can't do anything.
Yeah, talking too much, wearing dark clothing. Even it says thinking of running away.
How would they know that?
Exactly. This is the thing. This list goes on and on. This list was specifically made so the children break these rules by accident. Because if you do, you get punished. And like I think it's like certain rules have light punishments and others have like heavy punishments. But certain teens are assigned, I don't know the exact term, like they had a specific term for this in this school, but certain teens are chosen to be the ones checking everyone whether they like follow these rules or not. They get these lists, like these clipboards, and they have the task to fill out this clipboard. They have to catch people not following the rules. So obviously, if they are not able to see anyone, like have no, they don't actually see anyone breaking the rules, they start filling their lists themselves. Like they make shit up. Like, for example, looking out windows, or even like one of these is very like easy to just fake, looking at the opposite gender or looking someone in the eyes for too long. You can just write it down like, yeah, John looked at the opposite gender. Damn, he already broke a rule, and this John dude is getting punished. And the punishments, like the lighter punishments, were something like they had to wear humiliating signs, like these on the upper body saying like insults and all, like I'm a piece of trash, whatever. All right, not gonna say all these insults because some of them are insulting, obviously. Also, some children had to wear clothing like rabbit suits and had cuffs around their feet, or straight up diapers, or do humiliating jobs like cleaning all the toilets with a toothbrush. But these punishments are on the lighter side.
Those are the light punishments?
Yes, because if you piss off a staff member and the guy just feels like it, he can start a general meeting. They literally just scream general meeting, and everyone at the school has to stop what they are doing at any good time and all meet up where the admin is, like the person calling in this meeting. They all gather in this place, form a circle. The one person being punished stands in the middle, and the admin just says, "Get your feelings off." And all the people around them start bombarding them with slurs, screaming at them, starting mental torture until the admin stops it. Like the admin, yeah, I think that's enough. The kids usually just lie on the floor crying, like completely broken down. They're like, yeah, that's enough. I think you get the point.
No way, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's all just made to break people. And after all of this, like this is a regular day, you of course have class time from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Right.
At fucking almost midnight. You have class time. No special courses or anything. You just get textbook work after a nice full day of humiliation, hard labor, because everyone, of course, has to work if they're not being punished. And this is like this whole class time thing was made, like according to the director, because students are easier to be controlled when they are tired. So
Jesus Christ.
They just sit there in the class, and the teacher makes them, like, tells them whatever he wants. They are way too tired to think correctly. They just believe him or listen to everything he says. And then you think, okay, 11 p.m., day is over, I can sleep now. Of course, this also obviously won't be that easy, because in every room there are multiple designated students walking around with flashlights, checking regularly whether you are actually asleep or just pretending, or whether you escaped. Because don't forget, pretending to be asleep is also one of those rules that you could break. So you are not allowed to pretend to sleep. If you do, they write it down. Punishment for the next day, probably. This all was not even the highest level of punishment, because the highest level of punishment that I'm about to present, they call it the ring, is definitely a couple levels above this. They call it the ring. Similar thing like the general meeting, it can happen at any given point in time. The admin just says, yup, we're starting the ring, everyone gather here in the circle. The problem teen is called the bully and gets gloves and a face guard. And the admin chooses students to have a fist fight with this bully, with this problem kid. And until the admin stops all of this fight continues. Like these fights go on until these children, like a lot of them, had permanent brain damage, PTSD, and some of them even died. Like they fought. Like there is a story of a kid who grew up in a very violent household. So of course he had the tendencies. The parents like didn't really care for him, just sent him into this school. The kid had a lot of anger in him, and when these fights happened, he usually fought until the very end, like until he really fell down, no energy. And at one point, he fell down, unconscious. They didn't help him for 20 minutes. Only after 20 minutes he got help. They sent him away and he never returned. He just died of, I think, a brain aneurysm, I think it's called. Yes.
What do the parents do?
Bro, the parents do not know anything about this all happening. And I think it's easy. It's pretty easy to fake letters or anything to just say, yeah, nothing happens here.
So they would just like disappear and then like have the letters be like, yeah, I'm moving to Minnesota and probably just gonna start a life there.
I would think so. And even then, it was said that there were researchers, like a couple, I think 12 researchers, journalists went there to check multiple times, but they always left empty-handed. Because, of course, they say, yeah, on that day, I'm coming. Like, just checking it out. And for this day, they act like everything is normal, everything is like happy-go-lucky. So nothing came out to the outside world. These children fucking
like crazy.
Yeah, these children fucking die. They're fighting because of some punishment. Like one of the staff members is like, yeah, I'm feeling like it's a good time for the ring, right? I want to see some kids fight. There you go. And the admin only stops it when he thinks the kid was sufficiently injured. I mean, yeah, of course, death is probably sufficient. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, but no charges were ever filed against them for the deaths, even after all of this came out. Because, as I said at the beginning, apparently at that time, no laws said that the operation they were like doing was illegal in any way. The parents allowed the kids to go there. This is all called treatment, and the treatment was just taking effect according to the director. I don't even know how that would work, really, because there were people dying, and when this came out, how could there be no charges? Whatever. The parents really allowed them to do everything, basically. Had to be, because otherwise I don't see this ever like working. But now, also important to note, I think the only reason why this story started to get big was because a few students were able to escape. I think there were 3 cases recorded at like different times. And they, of course, when they escaped, were able to tell the story. This got bigger over time, but the stories of these escapees is also pretty sad. And one of them is the reason I did the warning at the beginning.
Yeah.
But the first student that escaped, name we don't know the name. It was just a guy, I think. He ran for 15 miles through the woods.
Fuck.
A police officer found him, saw his condition, heard what he had to say, and was like, I'm gonna bring you back home, right? Everything is good. After some time, like he was safe, the student went to the home of a girl he knew that also went to the school. And when he was about to enter, I can't tell you why, but for some reason the homeowner just shot him.
What?
He just wanted to warn the parents, like according to the police. Like probably just went wanted to go there, like knocking on the door. The homeowner just fucking blasts him, and I was like, what? This gotta be like the most American thing I've ever heard. But I assume this is, of course, nothing that happens on the regular.
Hell no.
I don't know why the homeowner did this. Do they even care about their daughters still being there? Who knows? This is just a tragic incident. And the second case, being a girl that escaped and a trucker found her, he promised her to get her home safely because he listened to her story, but his real intentions were different, and I don't want to mention anything. This is why I did the warning. I think you know what he might have done to her.
Unfortunately.
But at the end, she was found dead. He apparently dumped her body somewhere. But another driver, I don't know if this was the same night, but someone else was able to find the body and also tire tracks. The FBI got involved, found this trucker, and they only were able to arrest the guy because in this truck they were able to find a single blonde hair.
Damn.
And they did the analysis. It was the girl that was died there. So just this got to be some high-level detective work, finding a single hair somewhere in this truck.
Yeah, one strand. That's crazy.
Yeah, imagine without it, he would just be walking around still to this day, probably. The third case, I don't got any info on it, but from what I understood, it was a regular successful case. So the third guy was actually able to get home safely, and I think the third escape is the reason why the story slowly got bigger and bigger. And at one point, after many years, the director Richie got lung cancer, karma, I think, and his wife had to take over this whole project. She did a couple changes, like the ring. This whole fistfight thing was abolished, it was gone, but everything else, or most things, stayed the same. So barely anything really changed. Yes. But this was happening when the rise of the internet finally started, and people were able to tell the whole story online, like the escapees, people that I think finished the school, after a certain amount of years, you of course get to leave, and now with the internet you get to tell the story worldwide. Everyone hearing about this, and this went on until the school was bombarded with so much criticism in newspapers, online posts, television, that the wife made the statement. I don't have the exact wording right now, but she basically just said the school was attacked by false statements online and wasn't able to survive the damage, and therefore had to close.
Good riddance.
So everything that was said online, according to her, was false. The school is all good, but all this hate online, these damn haters, this is why the school had to close.
Yeah, right.
I'm very sorry. Yeah, but at that time, everyone knew what was really going on there and why they closed. Who are you fooling with this statement? They're surprisingly, like, to this day, there are still posts made from time to time, and some students, there are a few students who say this treatment there helped them. Like, these were probably the students that rarely ever got like this heavy punishment, or just, I don't know why they say it helped them, but some do. Like, I think one of them even did a documentary on this whole thing, saying, yeah, it helped me, but most of the kids going there, it only made them worse. Like, it broke them mentally, physically sometimes, and to this day there are still people having PTSD, having these effects from this project, still not able to fully recover. And I think they will never really be able to recover after something like this. Like, how long is something like this usually going on? Like 4 years, I think you get sent there, and 4 years daily torture. I'm just like, I don't even know all the words right now to say.
Like, that is like absolutely insane.
This you could even go way deeper, because the people that work there also have a very shady past, and some of the students going there also got the like dark pasts. Like, I think there was a famous case of an 18-year-old going there and bragging about him assaulting someone.
Bragging?
Yes, and this all got the police on a case that happened in the past, but there was no evidence on it. Like, the older brother of this 18-year-old did a crime. He himself, this brother, did a crime. The dad also, like, drunk driving or something, and other like criminal activities. And this whole family for somehow, I think, got arrested, or there was evidence, because this 18-year-old went there bragging about his past crimes and what his brother did in the past and all of this. So I guess one thing positive out of these 1,000 non-positives.
Yeah, positive. That camp is just like, you just hear some things sometimes and you're at a loss for words. That is fucking crazy. Like, how did this go on for so long?
Yeah, the scary thing is, this is like not the only place stuff like this happened. These types of schools were pretty famous, I think, or a good way to make money, I assume, at a time like this, in the 80s or 70s, 80s, around that time, because like parents had trouble with their teens. I don't know why exactly. They still do to this day, like, definitely, but according to the post I read, this time was like very heavy on the parents. So a lot of schools opened just for this, just to better the children. And I don't know, like, a few of them might be legit, but there's also schools that to this day still go on. Like, there are still this industry, like the betterment of problem children, is still present to this day. And we, of course, don't know what happens at every school out there, because, like with the Elan School, journalists went there to check and they never found anything, because the Elan School is just prepared for these kind of situations. And the people working there are all usually very charismatic. Like, they know what to say. There are television broadcasts where they go on television and easily just say, yeah, everything is awesome, nothing to worry about, and people believe them because they just know what they are doing. This is all a huge cult that they are running. We don't know if something like Elan School or even worse is still going on, but I wouldn't put it past them to make money in any way. They just want to control children and make money at the same time easily. Yeah, this is what they could still do to this day.
Yeah, and it's like, you never, I mean, if they're that good at hiding it, I'm pretty sure they've gotten. There's probably some things out there that are even better at hiding. It might still be going on today. We just have never heard about it. That's
Yeah,
fucking. Yeah, the fact that the parents would just willingly, the fact that the parents would pay for their kids to go there, 50,000 to just get your kid beat up every day. That's crazy.
yeah, and the kids have no say in it. Like they don't know that they get taken away.
Yeah, they get kidnapped.
Yes, crazy.
No,
Parents don't even need to give a lot of information. Like they only give their probably like address, the money, maybe the email address or the telephone number, and then yeah, off you go, kid.
yeah, they must not care about their kids whatsoever if they're doing stuff like that.
Yeah, saying like this is all for your betterment. This is all a fun camp, right? Then they just send them
Hell
off.
no.
God damn.
I'd resent my parents for the rest of my life. Like, if I got out of there with no PTSD, I'd probably be, like, severely lucky, but I'd hate my parents forever. Like, there's
Yeah,
just no way.
definitely.
Fuck. That's, I can't even. Well, my story's not that dark. It's definitely. It's, it definitely has some dark themes to it, like the overall case, but it's not that dark. It's more of just like a. I just love stories that have stupid cops in it. Like it just
Oh.
so it's more of a story of like dark themes for sure. Deals with the death of a child, so that's kind of what makes it dark, unfortunately. But yeah, we can go ahead and start that. I think you're done with your story. That's a sad story, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. So my it's actually a real life thing, so it's not even a theory. My story today is The Boy in the Box. This actually took place in February of 1957, so probably about 70 years ago, 60 years ago. Both of ours kind of take place in the same era, I'm pretty sure.
Damn. The dark age.
Yeah, the dark age with no internet, and you can basically just get away with anything because nobody can find out anything. But this takes place in Philadelphia in 1957. The story starts off in a heavily forested area. Someone found a body inside of a cardboard box, which was placed inside of a bassinet dresser, which is basically like one of those big dressers that had like the open swinging doors, and you can fit a lot of stuff in there, like clothes and stuff like that. Well, in this one, there was a cardboard box that contained the body of a 6-year-old.
Damn.
Yes. So this body was first discovered. I say first because it was discovered twice, technically. This body was first discovered by a man named John Stashwiak. I'm sorry if I pronounce his name wrong, but that's just how it's spelled. He was checking his hunting traps, and he said he did not want to report the body because he didn't want the police to confiscate his hunting traps. So he found the body of a 6-year-old, was like, oh shit, closed it back, and then just went on with his day. How can you do something like that? I have no idea. He was more concerned about like the food and stuff inside of his traps than the body of a 6-year-old, I guess.
Bruh.
The body was discovered a second time by a college student named Frank, in which he reported the body reluctantly. So even he was kind of like, he saw the body and was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But then eventually he heard like the story of a missing woman and like went to the police and decided to report the body. The body was of a 6-year-old, as I said. The boy's hair had been cut recently, so they think it was cut post-mortem, like after the child died. Severe signs of malnourishment, and there were surgical scars on his ankle and groin. It didn't exactly go into detail what the scars were, but it definitely placed heavy like evidence that there was somebody cutting into his ankles and groin for whatever reason. There was also an L-shaped scar underneath his chin. Have no idea what that could have possibly been, but it sounds like there was stuff being removed and taken out of his body for whatever reason. This is where the story gets very, very mysterious. So the boy's fingerprints were taken, and, you know, his face was put up on TV, like the usual stuff, newspaper. It was actually a very, very widespread story. It was placed everywhere, fingerprints, everything, because they wanted, of course, to find out exactly who this child was. The mysterious part is nobody came out. Not one person was like, oh, that's my child. Oh, I know that kid. Nobody knew who this boy was. Either that or they just didn't want to come out and speak up about it. They eventually had to keep going like deeper and deeper, try to figure out who this boy was. They combed over the entire area more than 10 times, but couldn't find any evidence other than like a few child items that may or may not have been attached to the kid, and like a blue baseball cap that belonged to a man or something. They combed the area over and over. They eventually found a photo of the boy. I don't know if this is... It didn't explain exactly where they found the photo, but I'm pretty sure it had to have been inside the woods or else they wouldn't have found it.
Yeah.
So they found a photo. They were able to put that on TV and put that inside newspapers and stuff. Nobody still came forward. Even having a picture of the boy like before he died and you know exactly what he looks like, still nobody came forward. They released his case file to the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. Nobody came forward. So this is like reaching national level at this point. It's not only inside Philadelphia, it's like reaching all over the United States. Still nobody's coming. To this day, this case has been unsolved and they still cannot identify who exactly that boy was. That's the weird part. This case was in 1957 and still to 2021, nobody knows who the fuck that kid was. Nobody came forward, nobody said anything. But there are a few theories and there are a few cases that they almost found out who he was. So as they're doing their research, they decided to go check this orphanage that was about a mile and a half up the road. It was very close to where the body was found. They found so much evidence in this place that they were for certain where this kid came from. Inside the foster home, there were the same dressers that they found the body in, the same bassinet, same everything. There were also similar clothes hanging up around the place where the body had been wrapped in. So I guess the clothes that they had found the body wrapped inside were also similar to the ones that were inside the orphanage. So we have same bassinets, same clothes. And they were for certain that the child belonged to the stepdaughter of the man that owned the foster home. So they kept trying to get all this evidence together, but they ended up dropping that case solely because they couldn't find a definite link from that child to the foster home. They couldn't confirm that was the stepdaughter's kid. They couldn't confirm from any records that he actually lived there at one point. No evidence of any like hair strands, anything. So they had to drop that case completely, unfortunately. So, back to zero. Back to square zero. They have nothing, no evidence. Still don't know who this kid is. Don't know why the fuck he was inside the woods, inside of a cardboard box. Nothing. The investigation went closed until 2002. So, like a whole, 50 years later.
Mm-hmm.
A woman came forward by the name of Martha. They referred to her as M for some reason. So, M came forward and said, I know exactly where that kid came from. My mother is actually the one that bought that kid. The word bought was in quotation marks, so I have no idea what the fuck, where do you buy a kid from? I guess, I'm hoping from an orphanage, but she has said that's where they bought the kid from. They sat her down, and she told a long-winded story about what exactly happened. So she said she knows the boy, my mother bought him, and his name is Jonathan. She came forward and said that the mother had sexually assaulted, physically abused the boy for almost 3 years straight. So, I guess you guys can kind of put two and two together what she was doing to the boy as in sexually assaulted, but physically abused, she would hit the boy every single day for any mistake he made. If he didn't finish his food, if he looked at it the wrong way, she would just physically abuse him every single day for 3 years. One night, after the 3 years was up, the boy threw up his baked beans. I guess he was eating his food and he accidentally threw up on the table. And she beat him relentlessly. Just over and over again, punched him, smacking him, everything until eventually he went unconscious. She went to the shower, I guess, to bathe off all the blood and bruises and stuff like that. And he died inside the bathtub that night. Well, these details matched up perfectly to information that only the cops knew. And whenever that usually something like that happens and they know, it's like a for sure story. Like if a person comes to them with information that they haven't released, then this is for sure like, okay, this is what happened then. They said that the doctor had found baked beans inside the boy's stomach, and they had found wrinkles on the boy's hands. So they know that he died inside the water, and they know that the last thing he ate was baked beans. Perfect story. Okay, we finally found out this is what it is. Martha had allegedly helped bury the boy, put him inside the cardboard box, inside the bassinet, and put him inside the woods. Out of all of this evidence, they still couldn't verify this woman's story. Only because she had a past with mental illness. They went into her medical records. I think cases of schizophrenia came up. Mental illness cases that they, of course, cannot verify. I guess with mental illness, police kind of assume that they're making stuff up, I'm pretty sure. Along with their mental illness, the neighbors came out and apparently verified that a kid had never lived inside that residence ever. Which, of course, that can be explained by them just not ever letting the kid outside, which I don't know why they really took that into account. Mental illness. The neighbors never confirmed that kid lived there. And just all around, they couldn't directly link the kid to that house, just like with the orphanage. Sorry, police work. It has been 65 years to this day, and they still haven't announced, or they still haven't identified the boy's name, why he was inside the forest that night, who put him there, and where he even comes from 65 years later.
Fuck.
It's just an all-around crazy story. I did have sort of a short one today, but this story was just too...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, how do you go 65 years and let a case like this just be cold? That could have been somebody's child. Hopefully it wasn't the child of the mother that was physically and sexually abusing him every single day. But it's just a wild story, because there's so many cases like this. I mean, we've done stories on like the CDD and stuff like that where just cases just won't be solved because they can't find evidence. You even have a case like this where evidence leaks up perfectly. Like, they know his last meal was the baked beans. They know he died inside the bathtub, but since she has mental illness, they just scrapped the entire evidence.
Like you said, that they tried to find the parents or anyone that knew the child multiple times. No one came forward, and I was like thinking it might have been an orphan. And then you say orphanage like close by, and I'm like, damn, my theory might be correct. Everything is lining up like the first time, and like with this mother abusing the child, like the second time. That's the second time the evidence matches almost perfectly or straight up perfectly. But there's always this one thing that is missing. And if this mother, I'm calling her mother, but I wouldn't even say mother. The woman that went to the police used the term bought. I don't know if you even say like I bought this child if you adopt a kid from an orphanage. Is this something that you would even say? Like, sounds colloquially insulting to say I bought this child.
So in America, you technically do buy the kid from the orphanage. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of money like handed around. Like, they give you some money throughout the years, and you have to buy it from them originally. But I don't know why. Maybe she just only looked at the kid as like some sort of property. My final theory with this: why not both? Honestly, why couldn't it have been a kid was in the orphanage getting abused there? The bassinets, of course, are there. The clothing, of course, is there. The woman comes, obtains the kid from the orphanage, abuses him for 3 straight years there, accidentally kills him, goes to the orphanage to see, like, what do I do? I killed the kid that you guys gave me. We could both get in trouble for this, I guess. Maybe they get scared, give her the bassinet. She puts the boy inside the cardboard box, then puts it in the bassinet. They put it inside the woods, and they both try their hardest to cover up the story completely. The evidence lines up with both theories correctly. I've never seen a theory where, like, all the evidence lines up completely. It's usually like some outlandish theory, like aliens came down and like probed him or something and put him in the woods or some shit like that. I've never seen a theory where like all evidence lines up to be true. So at this point,
Hmm.
I'm just thinking that both theories may be true, and it just lines up in like a timeline of some sort.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the work of anyone that knows what they are doing. Like, this is not professional work. This is definitely, I think, someone that just killed this child for like dumb reasons. Like this abuse thing. This is not something that the kid ever deserved, obviously. And then the mother, if we are going with this theory, um, killed the child, left it there, well dipped. No one knows where the who did it. I wonder if nowadays something like this could work that easily, because I think now you would it would be like easier to see or spot people doing something like this, or it would be easier to find evidence. Like I can when I hear cases like these, or like this one, I instantly like think that this gotta have happened before the year 2000, like
Mm-hmm.
50, 60 years ago. Because nowadays, I don't know. There, of course, there are still similar cases going on. Because why wouldn't they? Um, but I think I think if this woman would have killed this child today, she would probably had gotten caught.
Here's the interesting part. So as they were putting the body away, like putting it inside the forest, a man actually drove by on a motorcycle and was like, "Hey, do you guys need help?" Because obviously he
Hmm.
thought they were doing something else, and he was just being a good Samaritan. Um, the Martha woman like had to cover for her mom. Was like, "Oh no, we're good. Thank you, I appreciate that." And like he kept like pestering and pestering, and eventually she got him to drive away. Well, this story actually lined up with like somebody that came to the police and was like, "Yeah, I saw people putting the body in there, and I tried to help them." So even that, like that, everything
Damn.
lined up perfectly. So I mean, like it's like we know exactly who did it and what happened and like who's all connected, but like since so much stuff is discredited through like mental illness and the neighbors not ever knowing that a child lived there, then it's just automatically just gets thrown
Hmm.
away or scrapped.
Yeah, I already know if something like the Death Note were real, this woman would have died instantly. Like
Absolutely.
this like you personally, you would instantly think, yeah, she has to be the culprit. And maybe this is premature. I don't know, because what if she wasn't the killer? Maybe it was all actually like a very well thought out case. The person that killed the child really planned everything out, and this woman was just unlucky to be in the spotlight of all this mess. But
Uh,
yeah, nonetheless, uh, very like definitely a weird case. Reminds me of the case you told on here like 2 weeks ago, I think, where the woman also, like, there was evidence and still no one
yeah,
was
Casey
found
Anthony.
guilty. Yes.
Yeah, these childhood cases, like I feel like there's kind of a justice in at least speaking about the case because not many people have heard about it. Of course, we didn't really look into it on CDD and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
at least like bringing the case to light to kind of just like there are children out there that probably are still not found and not identified, and I mean, I have really believed that something like this could probably still happen today.
Hmm.
Like if nobody genuinely knows who the kid is, which inside orphanages it's not really an abnormal thing for like people's information to get lost and nobody to really know somebody's true name. Because orphanages like it's still like a rough thing inside America. Like you can lose everything inside an orphanage just because you're a kid and like they don't care about you and they lose your information or something and social
Yeah.
security and stuff. So I mean, it could probably still happen today, but unfortunately, this kid never was found out. Even though there was evidence pointing to what could have happened, I don't know if they ever plan on reopening the case. But the last bit of information came in 2002, which was like 20 years ago. So I
Hmm.
really doubt it, unfortunately.
Damn, 2002 was 20 years ago. I feel old again.
For real. I felt weird
20,
saying that. Like,
yeah, 2002 feels like 10 years ago or something.
yeah, like
Like
I
fairly
feel like
recent.
Interstellar, just like trapped inside that box, just watching days go by. We need to like
Yeah,
do like a whole episode on Interstellar because that's technically you can have some theories out of that. That'd be pretty interesting.
yeah, definitely.
All right, well that has been today's two theories. It's hard to like bring you guys, hopefully I didn't like bring you down or anything and make you sad. We both had some pretty dark theories. Pan definitely. This might have been your darkest theory to date, I think.
You think?
I think so.
I don't remember all the theories I presented, but yeah, this is. If this is not the darkest, it's definitely top 3.
Hey, Pan finally joining the dark side.
Damn.
I pulled him over here. All right, well, like I say every single week, I'll try to do a lighter theory next week. The dark one is just too, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I have to talk about them, like the Russian sleep experiment and Casey Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're definitely interesting. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We have Panicotta here. We have Apollo. You guys have a nice rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next week.